Okay, sorry for the delay. Technical issues. I thought it was on the guest end, was on my end. Had to restart the machine. Right, before we begin, no drama. We're going to be on topic here. So, and then we're continuing from, I think, like over 2 weeks ago now. So we covered the first sort of, I see here, because I restarted my machine. All my notes are like, bear with me. It's going to be a bit of a slow start. Opposed to a wanting change. Right. What was the first question? I can't remember. But the second question, oh, wait, I'll put it on the screen. So banners along the bottom. Oh, it's already there. Okay. So you should see the focus of the conversation today. There were some other announcements I wanted to make. The drama stuff we'll get back to another time, but this one is, overdue. And as a special for being so patient with us, I got a little surprise. Now, I'm a little nervous. So, there is a bandit in the air, and he's wondering if you may care. If he may talk to you, if he may talk to me. There. I got a keyboard.
Nice.
Sorry. People are like, what the hell? Right. How you doing, Bandit? Thank you.
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Yeah, I've been messing around with this thing. It's got so many sounds.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Sorry, 1 second.
Sure. Okay. So why do people refuse to cooperate? No, that was the first question. Why, from the first part, why do people refuse to cooperate even though they say they're on the same team? Do their differences get in the way of their shared objectives? So we kind of covered that one. So today, why do people refuse help and advice that would actually be good for them? Is telling them to self-care and love and motivational speeches pointless then? Does it cause more harm than good? I was thinking we could tackle this maybe.
Sorry, I'm back.
Well, that's cool. I was thinking we could tackle this question about self-help and whether or not it's helpful or not. If we do it backwards, maybe. So the question I'll pose is, how is it when people listen to motivational stuff or they hear advice, they know what's good for them? Why does it either doesn't work or makes them feel worse?
Okay, it makes them feel worse because it gives them unrealized expectations. So let's look at it. Let's look at it as a risk-averse situation. Okay, if you are afraid to make change and then you hear motivational change, or you hear people talking about motivational change and saying, "Oh, it's easy, just make change," or "Hey, embrace it. Life sucks, but you're gonna have to do it." That's not really. It's gonna make you feel awkward. It's gonna make you feel angry because you're like, this isn't how I feel. This feels weird, and now you're telling me to embrace it and just do it. That's not going to motivate you. It's actually going to make you do the opposite, for one. And two, a lot of it just says do it. There's no plan. That's If you have change without a plan, you're going to fail. So just saying just to change because life tells you to make a change is like literally like driving without a driving without glasses. You have no idea what the hell you're doing. You just know I have to drive. It's going to lead to problems. You're going to get in an accident. Something bad's going to happen. So that's the way I look at it. Like motivational speakers, if you need the kick in the ass to get you to do something, okay, that's good. That would be good to speak to a motivational speaker. But if they're just telling you to change don't give you a plan, that's irresponsible.
So, because you started off with saying like the expectations, is there a fear of doing to make that change, to take the steps, a hesitation, a anxiety of the unknown?
Yes.
Or is it a fear of letting go of what you're used to?
It's all of it. And
All of it,
the thing is, what's worse, forcing someone to change and not knowing the reason why to change, or a path to show you why you're changing or what to do? That's just going to make an awkward situation even worse. It's like those people that go, your life stinks, you can do better. Well, you can do better doesn't really give me a starting point. It gives me an end point. I can do better, but doesn't give me the the roadmap of how to improve. And that's the whole thing about change. It's not about why you're changing, it's the process. So if no one's going to give you a roadmap to actually make the change, then what are you doing? You're basically giving people advice and you're actually being harmful, because you're giving them the motivation. You're telling them to change because they know that they're diagnosing the problem. You have a problem, change, but you're not giving a roadmap how to fix it or how to avoid the behavior.
So is that a kind of missing component then in some of this like self-help videos, these speeches and advice, that it misses out or skips over the arduous process, and thereby the person who's meant to be receiving this feels it doesn't feel seen or recognized?
Yep. And it also basically tells the person that you're asking to change that you're inadequate. So imagine a world where you think you're doing everything right, and not in an egotistical way, but just in a life you're saying, I think I'm doing pretty well for myself. I'm trucking along, things are great. And then imagine someone goes up to you and go, what are you doing? You're not doing anything well. You should change. The way things you're doing right now are not good. And you go, I thought I was doing fine. Why do I need to change? And then you go, okay, you tell me to change. Now what? What am I supposed to be doing? Where's my target goal? How am I supposed to do this? And they just say, oh, just change. That is such irresponsible rhetoric. It's not even funny.
It's sort of like throwing them off kilter and then abandoning them to figure it out for themselves. But
yes,
there's another point there, I think, which is quite a core emotional one, which is by telling someone to change, you're saying you're not good enough. Should really the advice and the speeches and the motivation, should it really be trying to empower rather than disempower? Because it sounds like, by saying to tell someone to change, you're not good enough, you're kind of setting them up for failure, instead of saying, no, you've got it within you to be able to change.
Well, it depends on the person. It's like poker. Okay, you either bluff them or you outplay them. So some people need that kick in the ass. They really do. The only way they're going to change is you got to rip the rug from them and you got to force them to change. You got to tell them, hey, you're screwing up. you got to make the change. Okay,
Could
that's
it,
some
could it be?
people. Some
Could it be?
people, some people need that little, you know, you got to be like a first grade teacher. You got to put your arm out and you got to hold them and bring them along, kicking and screaming. Other people, you just need to show them the path and give them the target, and then they'll go. So it really, really matters what kind of person you're dealing with and what kind of personality they have. Because there's no like cookie cutter way of doing this. It's all about knowing the person and doing what the person having to understand what the person's needs are, and then applying that to get them to do what you need.
So would it be better for advice to come from someone who has a better, who is more familiar, like on a personal level, like they know who you are, rather than just some generic video they've watched on YouTube, like a deep person?
Absolutely, because well, okay, there's two ways of looking at it. If the person has your best interest at heart, and that's a huge caveat, because this also opens you up to negative change or negative or people manipulating you. So if it's for assuming it's for positive change, yes, 100%. Coming from a person that you know or love or care about, yes, 100%. That will actually cause you to
Right.
change. But at the same time, those are the people you got to be kind of on the iffy about, because since you trust them, they can manipulate you and
Yeah.
do negative change. Those are the people that say, "Oh, you should, it's okay. You should do this line of coke. It's okay. It's not going to harm anything." And then your life spirals out of control. So I'm just saying, nothing in life is cookie cutter. You have to be a free spirit, and you have to understand that some people have your best interests at heart and some people don't. The ones that
Yeah.
do, you keep them close, and the ones that don't, you cut from your life.
Definitely. I mean, I concur. Like, I think it's better to get advice from someone who definitely sees you, like your soul, your spirit, your essence, acknowledges you, recognizes, accepts you, and has that care and wants to see you grow. And the growing, I think, is a part that, because when we say change, I think a lot of people seem to think that a part of them has to, like, there's parts that need to be cut out of them. It's like that's not quite. Even if you've done bad things, you carry, really, I think, and like it's better to carry those mistakes so that you can learn from them than to try and cut them off as if they never happened.
It depends. I can see this going both ways, and I'll explain. For most people, 100%, but there are people that have that, addictive personality where like you do drugs and you're always going to be doing drugs. You need to cut that aspect out of your life permanently, because you're susceptible for it's like if you are susceptible to get skin cancer, you're not going to be in the sun all the time. You're going to put sunblock on. You're going to permanently change your behavior
Well,
because
no, but you've cut the behavior out, but you still
Mhm.
carry the knowledge, because otherwise you'd make the same mistake again. Like literally,
Yes.
like amnesia, like you totally forgot that you were on drugs, or you totally forgot
Yeah.
you get sunburnt.
Yeah, but there are people that put their head in the sand and just say, "Fix me." But they put their head in the sand, "Fix me." You know what I mean? Like those people that are out there that know they have an issue, but refuse to change their behavior, and then blame
Right.
society for
That's kind of like a codependency type thing where they're saying like, I want to change, but I want you to do the work for me and fix me.
it. Hmm.
So that's another kind of gauging of a person you're dealing with is, are they even able to take care of them? Can they have the capabilities to make these changes? Maybe they might need assistance. Otherwise, it's
Yes.
probably why they're asking for advice or whatever.
Yep.
Um,
But there's two ways of looking at this. One, who are you in this scenario? Are you the person trying to make the change, or the person motivating somebody to make the change? Because we
well,
can break that into two different things.
yeah,
If,
we
if
can.
you are, if you're the person trying to give the advice, expect failure,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
don't eviscerate the person for the failure,
yeah. So
because
for the purposes of this,
real change that is, worthwhile, that's positive to your life, is gonna be hard. The thing is, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna collapse. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be angry. Understand that, and understand that are short-term problems. So understand that those things, they're not directed at you. They're directed at the frustration of the issue that's happening. So don't take it personally. What I'm saying, if someone you ask them to change and they fall on their face, don't write them off initially. You have
Yeah.
to you have to be very, very understanding and empathetic.
So
Now,
I think we're
yeah,
finding here then this idea of change is quite a loaded concept. There's so much additional things that probably aren't really being considered.
yes, and like I said, it requires someone that really cares about you to ask for the change, because they're the ones going to have to hold you accountable, and they're the ones that are going to have to pick you up. I mean, look at think about the military. They have it right when they come down to, they have to break a person, bring them down to the core, into the basically nothingness, and then rebuild them up. Everybody can just say, "Hey, do this." The rebuilding part's fun because you actually get to motivate them. That's the part that gives you the most joy out of it. The breaking to someone to get them to finally make the change, that's the tough part.
Yeah, I mean that's like the grief. So the breaking them is like the death of the ego, mortification.
Well, yeah, it's ego.
But then
It's letting out the trauma. It's
right,
motivation.
so the
It's
grieving process.
mm-hmm.
You know, so a little scenario. Then you want someone who wants to improve their pick something like diet or health or something. You know,
Let's
that
do
might
diet,
seem a little.
that's a pretty easy one to go through, and everybody can understand that.
Okay, so they eat a lot of junk food, and they want to get, you know, their body is whatever, getting obese, and they want to improve their diet, get healthier, get the nutrients and all this. Theoretically, should sound simple, right? Just stop eating the junk food and eat healthy, right? So
But you got to find it. But it's actually pretty complex, because if you think about it, what is the source of eating wrong? Is it because it tastes good? Is it because you're feeling a hole in your heart because you're in pain? So the only thing that makes you feel good is eating. So
ice cream. Give me ice cream.
Yeah. Is it okay? I don't want to change the food. Maybe I got to change my exercise. Maybe it doesn't matter about cutting the food out. I'm still gaining weight. Maybe I need to increase my workout.
Right. So
Maybe it's changing my schedule around so I can go to the gym more. So there's a lot of things that go into it that people don't really think about initially.
You're making me feel a bit guilty here because being diabetic, diet is actually an important aspect. And it's like, oh yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff I'm being taught that I just don't really care about. But it's like, it might not necessarily be the quantity of food or even necessarily what the food is, but how it's portioned out and at what intervals of the day.
Yes. So like you being a diabetic is a whole other issue, because you gotta look at food a lot more.
They want me to carb count.
Not diabetic. You got to make sure your sugar levels are up. You got to make sure that that you're getting your exercise, so you're not getting fat around your pancreas. So your pancreas doesn't have to work extra hard. There's a lot of different things. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you have to think about. And what it comes down to this is your motivation is really simple, because your motivation is, if I don't eat healthy, I could lose my limbs, which is so like you have motivation. Now the person on the flip side that you think is overweight or whatever the case might be, but has a psychological need to eat because it makes them feel good, they have a lot tougher road than you do, because you have the self-motivation of, if I don't eat healthy, I could potentially, feel I can get neuropathy, I can get nerve
pain. Even before that, that's kind of like that. I mean, to get to that point is kind of messed up, because even before then, your sugars, for me personally anyway, I'm sure for most diabetics, once you eat something, if I ate a cake, within a couple of hours, I'm going to be like, my sugar's sky high. I feel crap.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily going to lose a limb that evening.
I'm using the extremes to prove a point.
Yeah. And so this is another area of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a separate could be something like convenience, whereas you might want to eat healthy, but then do you have access to the healthy food?
Well, yes, and that's becoming increasingly hard with inflation. But the thing comes down to this: if you want convenience, it's more when to sacrifice the time. So, for example, if you want convenience, then change your habit. Make all your meals on Sunday night. Spend 2 hours making like three different crock pots, and then guess what? You have leftovers for the whole entire week, and now you sacrifice a couple hours in the beginning of the week, and then now you can have food for lunches and dinners for every single day during the week,
So
and
that's
then
an interesting point you're bringing there, because
it's just fun.
it starts off as like someone wanting to change their diet and sort of loose, like what define what we mean by this, and now we're talking about like preparing meals, which almost seems like a separate task altogether.
But everything is linked, and
But
that's the
it's
thing.
linked,
Like
yeah.
it's in a sense it's all problem solving, and to a
Yeah.
but it's changing behavior. The thing is, everything we're talking about here is it's not going over and saying, oh, you did good this day or bad. It's you're physically changing the behavior for long-term success. Like short-term success, you can make like a flow chart, happy. I mean, even if you want to train like little kids, a smiley face for doing something good and a frown face for something doing bad. That might be enough motivation for some people.
So
All right.
could now, so would it, here's an idea. Would it
Mm-hmm.
be easier to change someone's habits, whatever their desire is, in a way, the less they know what's involved? Because once they realize that there's a lot more involved, now it becomes a humongous task.
It depends how you tell people, and two, if you make a plan. If you say, okay, for example, if you say you need to lose 100 pounds, okay, person's going to be overwhelmed. But if you say, okay, you need to lose 6 pounds and you need to do these exercises, each every 2 days, every 3 days we're switching exercises. You're going to work, you know, arms, legs, and back, legs, and back, and then we're going to give you a plan, and you're going to do these exercises, and then the goal is to lose 2 pounds a week. Okay. Now it might take you, a whole year to lose that 100 pounds. Okay, but I didn't stress you out. I gave you a game plan, and then in a year you lost 100 pounds. Now, people would understand that kind of change compared to, I go up to you and say, you need to lose 100 pounds, lose it today. You're going to be like, what the
Yeah.
hell? How am I going to do that? But I gave
Yeah.
you a plan.
Yeah. So
And the
a
thing is, with
plan.
the plan is it holds you accountable. So if you don't hit those target goals, now I got to figure out why I didn't hit those target goals. Was it water weight? Was it, was I working out too much and putting on muscle? So, what I
Well,
mean?
a
Like, this
plan.
is the kind of things you got to think about.
Yeah, and the plan can also help to push back the sort of reluctancy, because it's like, I'm not really in the mood for it today. But if you're sticking with the plan, it kind of makes the decision for you. So you could,
Yes.
that on one page is that you could be your own worst enemy and be like, I ain't gonna do it.
So the way I look at it is this: remember, I don't know what we talked about last time, but if you're gonna try to change people, the easiest thing to remember is the acronym SMART. Okay, which stands for
Measurable.
measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how you make goals. Okay, so you don't tell someone if they're making a dramatic change what the dramatic change is. You give them benchmarks that
Mhm.
you should be hitting this at this time, and then we can work towards attaining that. And then you basically say, hey, we haven't read those goals. Maybe we got to reassess what's going on. Maybe maybe you need to change something, or maybe there's another health issue, something came up and you can't do this change. But that doesn't give you off the hook. We just got to modify how we're doing things.
Do you think the time aspect is maybe has changed over the eras, because people have got it like convenient, have got things instantly, they want that instant gratification, that dopamine hit. So now when it comes to this idea of getting healthy over a period of a year, they're sort of like, too much
It's
effort.
it's actually easier because what you do is, instead of having the long term goal of losing 100 pounds, it's a pound a week. That's the goal. That
Yeah.
is the benchmark. That's what I'm doing every week. Pound a week, pound a week. And we're just going to pound that away. So,
Yeah.
and the thing is, you'll get your dopamine hit because, oh my God, I lost 2 pounds this week. I doubled my, I'm going to get to my target goal even faster. And this is where
Right.
you,
So
you,
so
you
you
have to
won't have
figure out what motivates you.
so
Some people like to have a flow chart. Well, they'll get a post-it board and say, my goal is to lose 100 pounds. I'm on week 2. I lost 2.6 pounds. My goal was 1 pound. And then I can track my whole goal. I can track my goals visually. Some people are visual learners. Some
yeah.
people just need that kick in the ass. They need that accountability partner. The person that's going to be like, you feel like shit. No, you're going to the gym. I'm picking you up now. We're going to the gym, and you're going to hate me for it, but later you're going to thank me. Now get your ass to the gym. I mean, some people need that motivation. Some
Right.
people just need the game plan. You go to a personal trainer, teach me the exercises, and I'll just do it. That's some people's motivation. They just need to know what to do, and so they don't hurt themselves. They just need the knowledge, and then they'll go. Other
So it
people,
sounds like there's
they
a
literally need that handheld, you know, basically the mommy figure that's just going to hold your hand and then say, okay, you're going to the gym. You're going to work on this machine for 2 hours. I'm going to hold your hand the whole time. It all depends on the person.
okay. So I was gonna sort of take it in a kind of like the disappointment angle, but
Okay.
well, because I was gonna say like with whichever sort of method or way of going about things, if you have the benchmarks and you have realism, then
Mm-hmm.
you avoid the daunting, you avoid the instant gratification craving because
Yes.
in a way, because
And
you've kind of lowered the bar and you're getting like small doses of gratification instead of a big
yeah.
payoff.
Well, you're getting both because you're getting the small payoff, and then you're getting the big payoff that I hit my target goal at the end of the thing. So you're
Yeah.
getting both hits. But the thing is, most people don't know how to make goals. That's the problem. And at least what I've ever seen, like through my helping people and everything else, no one knows how to make a real goal. No one was actually taught how to make a goal. Because if people were taught how to make a goal, we wouldn't be in this mess because people could just set realistic goals. And the two aspects that people always seem to screw up is um, the attainability part and the time bound part. They make these goals that are insane. Like prime example, like New Year's resolutions. They don't
Oh yeah, there we
they
go.
don't make goals that are attainable, and they don't make goals that are time bound where you're setting certain benchmarks. So and that's why most goals fail. It's because they make them unrealistic and they don't set realistic timetable.
Do they
So
tell themselves lies as well? Like Chris, you got the December, you got Christmas coming up, New Year's coming up. They want to quit smoking or something, and they say, "I'll wait till the New Year's. I'll keep my bad habit, and I'll wait till the New Year's to quit." And they lie to themselves, and then they break their own promise.
well, the thing is, it's really, really, really hard for someone to make change unless it's life threatening or they don't have that accountability person kicking their ass when they screw up. Because
Yeah,
people are really, really
they're,
crappy at
they're
motivating.
reluctant, isn't it? Um,
And it's not
with,
reluctant. It's no one's
well,
holding you accountable. We're at as a species, we are very, very terrible at holding ourselves personally responsible for anything.
we
It
also
doesn't matter
kind of,
what it is.
I think we kind of get used to like we acclimatize too easily sometimes maybe, and people it's like they sort of slip into like a state of learned helplessness or something like that. They kind of like this is how it is. I'm used to it now. I'll just carry on, and it might not be bad in the beginning, but it's that neglect over time that it starts to add up. So it's sort of like the inverted way of making positive change. If you're neglectful and you're like nonchalant and don't really care about it, don't really care about yourself, it might be all right today or maybe tomorrow, but gradually over time you're slipping further down, making it harder later on to turn the table and or turn the tides and make the change.
Well, it's a combination of that, and it's also a kind of like, who wants to go to a gym? I'm just saying, if you're not used to going to the gym, Imagine doing a solitary thing where it hurts, your joints hurt, you get sweaty, you stink, you know, muscles hurt, you feel in pain, and the only thing that's motivating you to go there is yourself. Most people do not have that patience or the tolerance to kick to be hurting all the freaking time to lose weight without
So,
an external force forcing them. Now that could be a doctor saying, hey, you're going to die, you weigh 500 pounds, you need to change. Or what most people need is they need a partner. They need someone to kick their ass with them. Now as a, if you want someone to change, do it with them, because then they have no excuse for you, for themselves to say no. For example, if your best friend was overweight, we'll just keep using the weight issue as a
yeah, okay.
category. Um, it's one thing to tell your friend, hey, you're gaining weight, you need to do things. You need to lose weight. They're gonna go, yeah, that's cute coming after you. But if you went to that person and says, you know what, we're gonna go for walks, I'm gonna drive your ass to the gym, and we're gonna go hiking, we're gonna do strenuous activities, we're gonna make this fun. We're gonna do rock climbing, we're gonna go for hikes, we're gonna go kayaking, we're gonna do things. And those little things, they might not be going to the gym, but it's still working out. And you're doing it with your friend, so you're motivating them together and you're pushing each other. That's what
Okay.
I mean by an accountability person. You need someone to do it with you,
Now
because it's
that's
really hard for you to say no. I'm in the trenches with you. Are you kidding me? We're gonna do this.
okay. That's all well and good if things are, progressing how you all like. Yes, you might need to kick up the backside. Fine, tough love. But so that's not really. So if that's success, if that's working, then that's not really. We don't really need to discuss it in particular. So if we look at the other side of that, which
Okay.
is you've got an accountability buddy, he's kicking
Hmm.
you in the backside,
Okay.
but it's not working, and
Okay.
if anything, it's making that person feel worse.
All right. So
Like look at the question at the scrolling across. Like, does it cause does your accountability buddy with all their good intentions actually cause a person more harm than good?
well, it depends on where it's coming out of. If it's coming out of love and respect, no. You need that kick in the ass. But if it's coming out of manipulation and for self destruction, yes, that they would have your worst interest at heart. Now the thing comes down to this: you have to look at what I said before. You have to expect your friend to fail. You have to embrace failure, okay? And you can't shame someone for failure. You have to be the motivating factor that gets them to do what they need to do. Some people, they need to be yelled at and screamed at and kicked in the ass to do things. Other people, you need to be sensitive to. Other people, you need to be you need to reevaluate the situation and then amend the goals. Other people, they're never going to change. So that's the whole spectrum. Okay.
So, like, who you're dealing with, yeah. So I'm
So
just wondering, like,
it's more
does it
no.
come across as like nagging after a while?
Well, you got to be nagging. Pain. What's nagging? Nagging and shame is the low level pain. Okay. Think about it. If if I go up to someone's and I see that you're overweight and people are making fun of you, okay. If sometimes your motivation could be, remember back in the day when people were making fun of you because you're weight? Well, that's never going to happen again because we're going to make you lose the weight and keep the weight off. Now, are you with me or not? You could be like that kind of person. You could be, you can take that pain and you can motivate the person. Remember when that person, said that you're overweight? Well, look at yourself now. You got girls that would never have given you a lighted day in high school, and they're all over you. You can use that as a motivation. Okay, you could be like, oh, that person's making fun of you. Hey, let's go to the gym and learn some martial arts so you can go kick his ass. Okay, there's another option. Another option could be, you know, you remember that pain you felt. Let's let let's let's let you deal with that pain right now. Maybe that anger and that frustration, you need to use that right deep down in yourself. You pull that pain and suffering out so that can motivate you to to do one more lift, or to max out your weight. Like sometimes you need to figure out what the person's motivating factors are and push them, and then use that to get them to do what they thought was never possible. And then what you do is you build off of that. So, you hit the, say you can only do 150 like 3 times. Okay. When they're on their third one, you say, nope, dig down. Remember that asshole in high school? Think about what he said to you, and then let's go for that fourth rep. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. You got to know what motivates people and what motivates your friend to get to push them to do. And then you can say, once they hit that fourth rep, see, I knew you had it in you. You just need to be motivated to do it. Now let's go for a fifth. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff you need to say.
Okay, so could you end up, if you're gonna like harness the power of their shame, and enrage them to, I'm thinking of like Rocky almost, like
It's not enrage, it's focus. Think of it as more as a focus.
So this distinguishment or delineation, like yes. So where's the boundary of, is it rage or is it focus? Like I'm thinking of the Rocky montage, something like that.
It's knowing the individual. This is why you have to know the person to help the person. This is why motivational speakers are pointless, in my opinion. I think they're, okay, I'll reiterate that. Motivational speakers are great if you're looking for information. If you need information on how to improve or new techniques, perfect. But if you're looking at them as motivating and to get my ass in a gear, I'm going to make a change, the rate of success you're going to have is near the toilet. So like I'll say it one more time. If you're looking at motivational speakers and you're there to learn something about yourself or new techniques or new information, they're perfect. I'd recommend them. But if you're looking at them to kick your ass and motivate you to make change, the rate of success is damn near zero. They're pointless. So like a TED Talk, those TED Talks are mostly pointless because they just tell you, information you already know. And you're just going, okay, that it doesn't make that, it's supposed to inspire me, but it doesn't. But if you went into, to the gym and you looked up some videos on how to do different bench presses, different techniques to target different muscle groups, and that was the motivational speak about, we're going to get you in the gym, we're going to teach you some new techniques, that's something I would go to. But I wouldn't go to the gym, the person that says, today is, I don't know, Virgo is in, something's orbit, the lunar or Venus's orbit, and it's telling you today to do stuff. That's not going to motivate most people. I'm just saying, it sounds ridiculous, but most motivation happens internally. It has to happen internally. You have to want the change. I can be the best motivational speaker, and I can kick your ass. I can beat the crap out of you to get you to do something. But if you don't want to do it deep down, it ain't going to happen. No way.
So, yeah, because I was going to throw that in like some earlier on about like self-drive, desire, passion, the self-esteem, most importantly. So if someone's got low self-esteem,
okay,
and they want to improve their diet, but it's almost like they've got two problems they want to change here. They've got the diet and their self-esteem, but they don't quite recognize that their esteem is the real hurdle.
That's an easy one. And what you need to do with people with low self-esteem is you need to give them really attainable goals and a lot of them, and use that as like, think of Dumbo. Okay, I don't know if I know that very old movie, but think about the train in Dumbo, where he's going up the hill. He's like, I think I can. He's trying to go up the hill. And then in the beginning, he's like, I can't do it. And then he's like, I think I can. And then he gets a crest. So you can barely do it and gets across. And he's like, I know I can. That's what you got to do with people that have low self-esteem. You got to give them really, really, really easy attainable goals. And then use that as a snowball so they can get harder and harder goals. Just like the military. Military does this very well. What do they do when they have to teach, electronics? What they start with? First day, it's what's 1 + 1, and then they'll go into multiplication, then they'll go into division, and then they'll go into electronics, and then they'll go into advanced electronics. They they don't assume anything. They start you at the basics to build your confidence up, and then they roll that confidence up into things that you even feel like that you could possibly do. And the thing is, another thing to do with people with low self-esteem: give them hope and show them the path. You 5 weeks ago you were at 150, and now you're at 140. Look at all that pain you caused. But look, you lost 10 pounds. Now let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can get that change done in 5 weeks instead of 10 weeks next time. Okay, use that to motivate them.
You mentioned hope there,
Yes.
and so what do you do if you have contradicting or conflicting advices from multiple sources? Like some people say, "Let hope die."
Letting hope die is the death knell of change. Hope is needed for change because remember, if it's a significant change, you're going to go through an existential crisis, and this is the important thing to think about. Any big change is existential crisis, and you got to push through it. So what happens is most people get stuck in the, oh my god, they have their existential crisis and they never push through. And what I mean by that is, I knew I have to lose this weight or I'm going to die. Okay, I'm using this as an extreme example. If I stay at the die part, it's going to destroy my self-esteem and I'm going to just give up. So I need to push through that pain and that suffering, and I need to do it quickly. And the only way you can do that to push yourself through the existential crisis is hope.
Right. I think maybe I kind of I set you up with a bit of a not a trick question, but because I think this idea of the hope part, this contradictory advice, maybe it brings up this idea that along with everything we're saying here, there needs to also be some situational awareness so that you can have the right approach for the right type of situation. Not only do you have to like evaluate the person who wants to change, and you have to evaluate their capabilities, and you have to give them some inspiration, some imagination as well. Like hope and imagination would be kind of linked here.
Well, imagination, I have a problem with imagination. It might work as a kid, but imagination destroys what SMART stands for. It destroys the attainability part. And the problem with imagination is you're basically giving people false hope. Like, for example, you're giving them false hope because, for example, if you're 300 pounds, you're not going to be a supermodel. Okay, it ain't going to happen. So telling someone that they live in a fantasy world and imagine if you were a supermodel because you lost weight. The likelihood of that happening is slim to none. You're going to destroy their confidence. You're going to destroy their hope. You're going to destroy the reason why they're going to do the change because you're giving them unattainable goals.
So you're stepping
I very rarely would use imagination.
Okay, so what if imagination, but sort of more in the direction of creativity, so that you can
well, don't use imagination. Use the creativity aspect. Focus on a potential future that still is attainable. I know that sounds contradictory to what I just said, but if you paint an image for somebody, when people think of imagination, they go to the extremes, and then they make these goals unattainable. That's why thinking like imagining things gets a very scary territory, because it makes people take the attainability part of it and they link it subconsciously as a fantasy.
Right. Yeah.
So, I don't want to. I want to live in the now and in the future.
Yeah. So I didn't. Yeah, I didn't mean like. It's an easy one. I can see why people. Yeah, like you say, like they're thinking of like unicorns and dragons and stuff. I mean, imagination with the not reckless imagination, but the like the imagination that's similar to being creative, to be able to envision a destination, a goal.
Well, that's just
yourself doing
that's a target. I guess we're coming with a different aspect of imagination. When I
It's
say
kind of like
imagination,
defined
is saying like,
terms. Sort of.
yeah, a little bit of defining terms here. Like when I say imagination, I'm thinking like if you're 300 pounds and you want to be a supermodel, that's being
Yeah,
imaginary. Like
yeah.
you're not,
I'm going to
that's
win the lottery
unattainable.
and
But
be
if
on a
you're
boat. You know.
but if you're in the aspect of keeping it attainable and saying, imagine a world where you went for a mile run and your heart didn't feel like it was going to explode, or imagine a world where you can run a 10-minute mile.
Yeah.
That's fine because you're making it attainable. But I still think it's better to focus when you're trying to motivate someone on the you know you know paradoxically, you should focus people on the current and the past than on the future. So for
Okay.
example, it's better to motivate someone and say, hey, you were here 6 months ago, look at yourself now, than look what yourself could be. Because that's not really because you don't link what you could be to what you've gone through. Now if you can say, hey, look at the past. You you gain you gained all this muscle mass, you lost all this weight. Look at yourself now. Like, take a picture. Remember when I told you in the beginning to take a picture of yourself? We're going to use that picture later on. Now look at that picture. That's your old self. Never be that again. Look at yourself now and take a current picture of yourself. And then look, you your waist is skinnier, your shoulders are broader, you got bigger muscles now, your confidence is so much higher. Look at yourself now. Now let's use this to get you through next week. I used current and I used the past. I never used the future until the end. And that's what it's very scary to use the future because
Whoa, whoa!
it's
Use the
playing
future at
infinite.
the end. It's kind of like, but you're at the end. That is the future, isn't it? The future.
Yes, but
I'm being a
but
bit
I'm
silly with
saying,
the semantics kind of thing. Cause like,
yeah.
because in the future it becomes the present, and
Well, I'm just saying it's easier and it's more psychologically beneficial to use the past to motivate someone than the future. Because remember, the past is where you were and you hated yourself for. You're making you're assuming you're making positive goals. If you're making positive change, you want to look at the past. If you're making negative change, you want to look towards the future. So
so
I have to really think about this now. Like,
so in
assuming you're making positive changes, you want to look at the past, and the past is going to motivate you to make better changes of yourself. Because
yeah.
you're going to
Now
say,
is
worry.
that
But if it's negative change, if you are, spiraling, look at forget the past. The past is in the past, but look what your future can be. So it depends on where you are on the spectrum. If your life is falling apart, you can't look at the past because it's going to demotivate you. You got to look towards the future. But if you're making positive change, you want to be looking towards the past and the future to motivate the past and the present to make yourself more motivated because you hate yourself in the past.
well,
Okay.
that's what I was about to sort of bring up. It's like in terms of sort of like motivational reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if this is necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's kind of like if it gets the job done, what does it really matter? But if you're sort of somewhat like running from the past because what you were before is like a nightmare or haunts you, or it's like escaping your shadow kind of thing. Now, is that kind of mentality um, good, even if it does get you the results?
Well, the thing is, it
Maybe not
depends
so
on
much.
it depends on the person, just like everything else. Depends on the person's results driven, or are they psychologically driven? And what I mean by psychologically driven would be if someone is is looking at more than just results to motivate themselves even further. So if someone's just looking at it like pounds on the scale, you would be correct. Like, I lost 5 pounds. But if someone needs that extra push, like, I need it where it makes me feel better. I need to, people are looking at me differently. Then you'd have to have a different strategy. Like I said, it's all about knowing the person. That's why I think self motivator speakers are pointless, because it's all about knowing the person. I can't
Yeah,
I can't
I mean
help you if I
that's
don't know what
where
motivates you, what you need, what your goals are. Like, and that's why a lot of people say it's a grift, and I agree.
So do you think that's kind of like the last we've got three main questions scrolling at the bottom there. That's kind of like
Mhm.
the goes with the very last one, like does it do more harm than good? So on the whole, would you say that this kind of is almost like woke, isn't it? Like woke positivity, sunshine and rainbows advice. Do you think it's kind of reckless?
Yes, because what you're doing is you're painting an image that's unattainable.
Yeah.
So, and that's more just, and most people, like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but for most people, that's destructive. If you're giving people false hope, all you're going to do is destroy their confidence. Like I said, like people right now are taking Ozempic to lose weight because what
Taking
they're
what?
doing is they're taking drugs to lose weight because it's one of
Okay.
the
Right.
side effects to lose weight, but they don't learn the skills or the tools to actually change their diet. So they're going to die faster anyways because you know they might look good, but they don't have the muscle mass to support their frame or the knowledge how
But
to
yeah.
how to fix their diet. So it's the thing is the only way to make that change is you got to understand the journey is everything. If you shortchange the journey, then you're going to cheapen your success. I can't stress that enough. If you shorten, if you shorten the trip, if you shorten the journey, you're going to have mixed results.
Yeah, you got
Embrace and when I have as my name right now, I have as embrace the uncomfortable. I said that for a reason. It's uncomfortable for a reason. Pain is uncomfortable. Okay? Shame is uncomfortable. Discomfort is uncomfortable. You need to embrace the suck. That's it. The
embrace
more
this
people embrace this suck, use the suck to motivate you. And then the key thing that most people don't realize, and and this is the huge one, is the last aspect of the feedback loop is self-reflection. You need to have weekly looking at yourself and saying, I had a shitty week this week. I cheated. I didn't lose the weight I want. Am I mad at myself? Yes. Am I going to throw this process away? No, but now I'm going to learn from my mistakes. Okay, no one, everybody just looks at change and doesn't look at the feedback or goes and says, okay, I hit my target goal of 100 pounds. Now what? Now let's reflect what I learned and now I can change my life. If you don't do the self reflection part, the change is pointless. It's not going to stick. You have to have the self reflection. It's the aspect that everybody misses.
so being able to review to have the perspective to see, to track,
Yes.
um to evaluate, to assess, to plot the course, because you're sort of talking about like a roadmap before, like the journey and all
Yeah.
this. So this, to self-reflect, to look back at the past, as you were saying, see how far you've come along, give yourself a pat on the back for doing that, to help boost up, because so a lot of these things are kind of like working in tandem
Yes.
simultaneously.
But the thing is, you have to use all of them.
Yeah.
There is no cookie cutter, and you can't cheapen change. You have to embrace that it's gonna suck. It's gonna affect every aspect of your life. It's gonna it's gonna change things. It's gonna make me do things I don't want to do. I'm gonna have to track my good days and my bad days. I'm gonna have to have self-reflection. I'm gonna have to have an accountability person to kick my ass. I'm gonna have to embrace the suck. I'm gonna have to go in and
I'm sorry. It's like, guys, it's like, pucker up, embrace the suck. You know, it's like,
yes, like
yeah,
I say that all the time to a lot of people that I know. Embrace the
the,
suck.
the
You
new philosophy.
yeah, it's not going to be, you know, roses. And the thing is, you don't want it to be roses because if it's an easy thing to fix, the likelihood of you returning to the bad
Yeah.
behavior is right there. You need it to
Well,
stop.
that would be, if it was easy and all, it'd be like a hollow victory.
Well, it'd be a hollow victory, but the more important thing is you won't embrace the changes needed. If I can go in, prime example, if I can go in and just sorry, if I can go in and just, get gastro surgery and then just change my stomach and just eat crappy anyways, did I really fix anything? I might lose weight, but I'm still going to die of a heart attack because my arteries are going to collapse because I'm still eating garbage food.
Yeah.
Gastro works if you're going to the gym, if you're eating healthy, then that's going to work. But if you're just, I'm going to shrink my
So
stomach so I can't eat
okay.
as much, but I'm still going to eat like crap,
So
you didn't learn
repeating the
anything.
so like that's kind of like repeating the cycle, right? So how easy or how often do you think it happens where people believe maybe that they're making progress, they're making change, but really they're somewhere along in this kind of cycle?
That's where you have to have your accountability person. So if we want to make that list of things that you
They
need
relapse.
for a successful change, I'll
So
list
then,
I'll list them out real quick, and then if you
but
want
but
to,
just quickly though. But I mean,
yeah, quickly,
it means. No, I mean not you. I mean I just want to say this bit quickly.
yeah, go.
You could take your time, but I mean I'm just gonna say like because if you're in a cycle and you find yourself back where you were before, then you were lying to yourself that you were making you didn't make change then. All you've done is cope, or you've been sort of somewhat in denial.
Yes, yes, 100%. And the thing that for any successful change, you need this. You need one. You need to recognize there's a problem. Okay, I know it sounds stupid, but that's the number one thing. Two, you need you need a game plan. So we need a SMART goals. Smart being specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. Okay, so we need to make SMART goals. Third thing, you need a roadmap. Okay, I and a target. Okay, so my target, losing 100 pounds. My roadmap, I'm losing 5 pounds a week. Okay, that's my roadmap. Next thing you need to do, you need to do research. What exercises am I going to do? How am I going to get this benchmark goal that I'm setting every week? Okay. Next thing I'm going to need an accountability person to either kick my ass or motivate me to get to the gym. That might be a personal trainer that I need to hire. It might be a best friend that you're going to help out with. That are going to go to the gym, whatever the case may be. But you need that accountability person that you trust, has your best interests at heart, and that you respect. The next thing you need to do is you need to do the feedback loop. Every week you need to give yourself some time to say, what did I learn this week? Okay, did I hit my goal? Yes or no? Okay, I hit my goal. Good.
Oh,
Then what I did
okay.
this week is perfect. I didn't hit my goal. Okay, where did I screw up? What can I learn from this so next week I can do better? And then lastly, oh man, I can get this done in a in 20 weeks. Well, I'm actually losing twice the amount of weight, so maybe I need to adjust my end goal. Maybe I need to either increase the weight that I'm going to lose or shorten the time so I can motivate myself. And then the last thing is, or I guess a couple more. Embrace the suck. You're going to feel pain. Embrace the pain. Use the pain as motivation. This hurts, but I keep thinking my end goal. I'm going to lose weight. This is going to hurt. It's going to suck, but I'm going to do it. Okay. Um, Next thing, anybody that's going against what you want to be, you need to cut them excommunicado out of your life. If someone's trying to keep you fat in this scenario and you want to lose weight, they're done. You either change with me or you're gone. Okay. You don't need negative people in your life. And especially if you really want to embrace this new aspect of your life, if they're not there to motivate you, they're not really good friends to begin with. And then,
So
lastly, you need to always be in a basically in an aspect of setting yourself more goals and more things to embrace the suck. You need to take this aspect of your life, and once you realize that, hey, I hit my 100 pounds, I'm never going to go back into those bad habits. Two, I'm not going to use those bad habits. And three, I hit my goal. Now let's embrace the suck on something else. So it's not like this is never a goal that embracing the suck never changes. It's always going to be there. The more people live in the life where they embrace the suck, the better they're going to improve their lives. You're gonna basically you should always be changing, and you should always be growing as an individual. You should never stay stagnant. You stay stagnant, you're gonna die. It's basically what happens. So you need to grow in three different aspects: mentally, physically, and spiritually. If you can take those three aspects and grow, you're going to actually end up being a decent person in the end.
I think peppered with that step by step, and thank you for providing that, is this continual sort of like identifying and I had a nice little buzzword to use. I forgot what it was now. Was it like assessing? But I forgot what it was. What I wanted to, a sort of analogy idea that maybe throw in there just to toy around with is with this idea of you have to kind of like put yourself in a checkmate position where there's no way out of it.
Yes.
Because different areas here, if there's a weak link or a liability, that would be like your Achilles heel. So if you
got to diagnose the problem.
Not even you could be your own problem then, in a way.
Well, the thing is, you still got to diagnose the problem. If you know that you're the problem, good. You know how to fix it now. Most people can't diagnose the problem too. So they just know, they see the carrot and they're running for the carrot, but they can never catch the carrot. I need to change. It's kind of like, the guy with the fishing rod and a dollar on a hook. Like you're chasing after the money, but you're never going to get it because you don't have a plan, or you don't know why you're doing it. I need to change. You're like, you're looking at the shifting winds and going, oh, I just need to go. And no, you don't need to go. You need to set a plan, and you need to figure out what's holding you back. Like I said, if you take shortcuts, you're going to fail. You need to diagnose the issue too. So, if you take shortcuts, you're going to fail. That's the only. If I could stress anything in this whole thing.
So, what do you think about this idea of fake it till you make it? Then,
I think it's bullshit, because fake it till you make it is just mumbo jumbo to just. I mean, like I said, some people just need the college try, but it doesn't give you a set goal of what to change. Like, how the hell am I going to improve if I don't know what I'm doing? It makes no sense. It's one of those like shallow platitudes, or it's actually kind of backhanded, because they're being so generic that they can't even help you.
Oh, this is okay. So I'm gonna circle this back around a little bit, because I was gonna say, so okay, if not maybe like fake it till you make it, but instead they're just flying through life. What's the expression? Like by the seat of their pants. They're kind of winging it, hoping. And I was gonna bring it back around to this idea of hoping.
Okay.
So because do you think a lot of people just fingers cross it through life? They just like, they don't really have a plan.
Oh, absolutely.
So winging it is in a way like plan B.
Well, the thing is,
I'll improvise.
Well, there's a couple things. That brings up the risk adverse to risky kind of person. The risky kind of person just wings it. I'll figure it out as I go. And then you also have the people that are way too risk adverse, and they don't even they make plan after plan after plan, and they never get out of the planning stage, and they just keep making plans upon plans. And when something doesn't go through, like the OCD people, they make plan after plan after plan, and if one little thing is out of order, screw it, I can't do it.
There's this little kind of joke in the psychology realm.
You got to use both of them. You got to be in the middle. Remember, life is never about the extreme.
Balance, right?
It's about the middle.
The balance.
You need to be risky enough to embrace that you can fail, but not too risky where you just wing life. You can't wing life. You got a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're going to fail. But if you don't take any chances, you're also going to fail. So you have to embrace the middle on this. You need to not be a total risk adverse person, but you also can't be someone that's too risky that you're just winging
So
everything.
what's the mathematical term? Is it like the probability of averages or something?
No, it. I would
You gotta
say being average, and that's the other thing. If you notice about every motivational speaker or even the news, everybody's saying you can't be average. There's nothing freaking wrong about being average. Average is where most Americans are.
yeah,
Why?
average is
Or,
good.
I wouldn't say, since we're an international audience, it's where everybody's at. There's nothing wrong about being average. Now, you could use average as motivation to do better. There's nothing wrong with that. But to say that there's a problem with being average when most people are average, because that's what the word average means, that part I just never understood. Because it basically takes the driving force away from something. If you were told that average sucks and you're average, you just destroyed their whole reason to improve, because
Is there so
the
much?
motivation is gone.
Yeah,
But if you said, look, you're average, but hey, there's nothing wrong with being average, but if you want to be better, I can give you ways of improving. That's a better way of improving people. You can get a lot more, what's the saying? You can you attract more bees with honey than vinegar. If you
right.
motivate people with positive ways of looking at things and say that you can improve, then they'll actually change. But if you say what you are is shitty and just change, they're not. It's not going to motivate people. So a lot of it comes down to delivery.
Do you think that because I'm trying to think of a word, because like average is sort of like a baseline, like, and
Well, I guess depending on how you want to look at it, and the average could be a baseline. It could
kind of
be,
like a like stability,
yeah.
like middle of the road, stable. It might be a bit boring, like it hasn't got the highs and lows of a roller coaster, but that's a good thing. Um, but then when people get off kilter, either direction is like a pendulum swinging now, and now
Mhm.
they're bouncing from one extreme to the other.
Well, you need to be centered, and to be honest with you, another way of looking at average is being centered. So how if I'm switching from, like, if you want to use a psychological term like manic, if I'm going
Manic,
from
right?
being super happy to super sad to super happy, I'm all freaking over the place. I have
Yeah.
no
So
freaking
how
center.
can you expect change to take place like
And
that? Because
think about what someone is manic. They are and what I'm trying to say is those are the risky people. They don't make any plans. They just wing things. So
yeah,
in society, if things go well, I'm super freaking happy. If things don't go my way, I'm really sad and depressed. Okay, that
well,
yo-yo will drive you insane. Now, some
yeah,
might say being average is crappy, but being average also means that you're not in the extremes. You're not super happy, you're not super sad, but you're centered.
yeah,
So if you're
yeah.
centered,
It's
I'm
good.
on solid ground, and now I know. And if I'm on solid ground, I don't have to worry about the mental aspect anymore. Now I can
So,
improve the physical.
do you think in today's culture,
Hmm.
it's that we have a problem that's being kind of bred into people where being normal for some reason, I don't know why they think this necessarily, but normal to them is just too mediocre. Like they need to stand out.
Well,
They need
I'll answer this real easy. It's with your talking points that you want to about advice from people and self motivations. You can't grift off of average. You can't, because if I'm saying be average, there's no grift.
right. I was just about to
So
say because
so there's the
the
motivational
motivational speech
speakers
is like
are,
you can move mountains. You can be anything you want to be. You could be top dog,
well
alpha, and all this. It's like whoa.
think of this: the purpose of motivational speech in any aspect, selling someone something, marketing, setting goals, all that stuff. You know what it is? It's inspiration.
Yeah,
They're selling you a dream. So the, the antithesis of a dream is average.
yeah,
Okay, so if say, like I said,
It just doesn't sound though. It doesn't sound as glamorous though. It's
it's not
like,
just glamorous,
like
it's
sign up
self-destructive,
yeah,
because
yeah. Well,
you're remember I told about before about setting unattainable goals. If you're not if you're not grounded in something, you're not going to be able to change, because you're spiritually, you're not prepared to change. Okay,
well,
that's what being grounded is. You can't.
it kind of asks the question though. It's like it makes you have to really answer the question honestly. It's like, what do you want? Do you really want to change, or do you want this perception of being something that you're not?
Well, there's nothing wrong with being the perception of what you're not, because that could be what you're trying to be. Like right now, I'm in that example, I'm 200 pounds. I want to lose 100 pounds. I'm not, or 250. Want to go down to 150. Okay, I'm not what I want to be. So that's good that I'm recognizing that. I don't see that being a problem. But you need to be grounded in saying, you know what, I need to recognize my problems. I'm average in the sense where I'm grounded. I know where my flaws are. I'm not being sold an impossible dream, but I need to now. I know I need to go and make change. The thing is, the only way you're ever going to make change is it's with the tier system. So the way I look at it is this: the tier system is you. First thing is you got to fix what's wrong spiritually. If your heart is not in the right place, there's no way the hell you're going to make any change. I don't, and that the next tier up would be mentally. If you're mentally not prepared to make the change, there's no way you physically can make the change, and that's the last tier is physically. So, and physically, what I mean by that is not just the changing of the body; it's the changing of the behavior. It's the changing of the behavior, changing of meeting that goal. So you need to fix your spiritual problems and your mental problems before you can do your physical change. Okay? So there's no way if someone if someone's overweight, or we'll flip this to make it easier. If someone's bulimic and they think that they're fat when they're really like a rail, there's no way you can tell them to eat something, because they're just gonna look at themselves, and they're mentally, they're not spiritually, they know they're hurting, so they're not gonna be able to fix that change, and mentally they have a mental problem, so that's not gonna be fixed, so they can't fix the physical change. Okay, so we need to delve deeper. Okay, spiritually, why are they hurting? Are they hurting because they have low self-esteem? Were they told they were fat? Do they have an image problem? Let's get to the root cause. Then we're going to go with the mental. Okay, maybe you need to go on some drugs to show you that you're not overweight, and then
Sounds like
now after that we can finally go for the change.
sounds a little bit. You're kind of touching on like cognitive dissonance there. It's like I know what I need to do, but I don't feel like it.
Yes, and you're never going to change if
Yeah,
you, and that's the mental part. That's what I'm saying. The spiritual and mental are way more important than the physical, because the physical is the actual art of the change. If
the,
you're not going to, if you can't fix the spiritual and the mental, you're not going to be able to make the physical change. It's impossible.
the body follows where the mind goes, or something like that, isn't it?
Yes. So you need to fix those two first before you ever even embrace the change. The change is actually the fun part. Even though it's going to suck and hurt, that's the fun part, because that's the part where you're actually going to see the improvement, see the changes, go through the journey. But honestly, the hard part of the journey is fixing the spiritual and the mental. You fix those two, you're going to make permanent change, because you're not going to go back to the bad behavior because you diagnosed the bad behavior. And that's the thing is everybody's like, oh, I can lose 20 pounds, but then they put 20 pounds back on. What they do, they didn't fix the mental and the spiritual problems. They just fixed the physical problems, and then the change didn't take place because they didn't diagnose the issue. What's the issue? Oh, I'm eating because it feels good, or I'm eating because I'm bored. Well, okay, if I knew that, if I change that behavior, then I'll never be overweight again. See what I'm getting at? That's why most people, if you look at motivational speakers, most of them never talk about fixing the mind and the spirit first. They always talk about making the change, which is the last thing to do. That's the fun part. But the hard part, the homework part, is fixing those two first.
Yeah, so that gives, I think, everyone like
Kind of like homework. You can't pass a quiz or a test if you don't study or do the homework first. You got to put the work in.
yeah, stop using the calculator and learn how to do arithmetic by hand, properly. Um, but I think as a general sort of, it's kind of funny because like we're gonna say this as like giving some advice out. Um, Advice for when listening to advice. Look, don't fall. Obviously, I don't fall for the grifters and PUA kind of stuff, but even more so, you need to really um, scrutinize what you're hearing because it's very easy to be lulled into a sort of sales pitch or something, like to be sold a dream.
Well, like I said, selling the dream part is the grift. That's
Yeah,
the definition of the grift. The
but
dream.
maybe like, do we how
Mhm.
consciously aware are people that they're being sold a dream? I mean, it might be obvious when you're hearing a PUA do it, but what about if it's like your fellow brother saying something
They're
that
not. They're not. And
you
they're
know?
and the thing is that no one's taught this. Okay, if people were taught this, marketing would never work. Billboards would never work. So America by design, because the amount of marketing and stuff thrown at you is so overwhelming that it's purposely they are never taught this because if I was told how to beat marketing, every single corporation would go under in a sense because if I knew, for example, that marketing is targeting my bad aspect of my person to keep me hurting and in pain or keep me from being my true self, I don't go from I go from not from barely understanding that I might use that product to never using that product again to hatred of that product. So, for example, if I linked my ice cream use to my overweight problem, okay, in that scenario, then if I see ice cream ads, they're saying, it's okay to cheat. Have a bowl of ice cream, or it's okay to use your sweet
Or like,
tooth. Have a blizzard, or
cheat
whatever
day.
the case. Whatever the case be, you're gonna take that and go, oh hell no! I put way too much freaking effort. I understand the bullshit now. This, in a sense, you know what you just really had right there? You just had a Matrix moment. You just really took the red pill. You realized that, oh my God, I'm being told all this fake bullshit, but I'm actually giving you the tools of beating your existential crisis. And that's in the heart of it. If you're going to do any kind of significant change in your life, you're going to have an existential crisis. And that's scary as hell. Okay. Because that can go two ways. You can beat it or you can stay in it. If the people that stay in it hurt people are going to hurt other people, it sucks. Okay. So the purpose of an existential crisis is recognize it's going to suck. Don't live in that environment for very long, and then have your self motivation out or self actualization moment out of it. So like if I'm gonna use, and this is probably gonna put me in a bind with a lot of people, but I'm just gonna use it as a example because everybody in this group is either part of it or MGTOW adjacent. If you live in an area where you're always hurting and you're causing pain and you hate the opposite sex, you're just going to call you're hurting right now. You have an existential crisis, which is okay. You need to grieve, and that's okay. But if you stay there your whole entire life, you're going to find out that people are not going to be friends with you anymore because you're just going to be hurting your friends, and everything's going to go into you know self deletion problems and everything like that. If you recognize that you're hurting And then now we have a game plan. Now I can get you to self-actualization. So in a sense, change is how you get to the journey of self-actualization. If you don't embrace the suck, you're going to live in torment. And that's what I fear for most people. If people don't embrace the suck, they can't improve their lives. And then you're stuck in an existential crisis. Then you feel trapped. And then most people end up offing themselves. That's the true reason why people off themselves. They feel trapped. They don't feel that they can change. Society has left them behind. And then bam, they're done. Okay. And I don't want that for anybody. I want people to grow. I want people to be the best versions of themselves.
There's a sort of it's like I don't know if it's like an argument as such, but when people are talking about self-deletion, they say that the act of self-deleting for a lot of people is a way of having control. It's like an act of control, because everything leading up to it was out of their hands. They felt powerless. But there's one moment in time where they could take their own life. They can finally feel like they've, for a brief moment, while they're in the process of actually, but they feel like they got control back. So
well, and remember what I told you before? If the only way to embrace that change is they didn't have a game plan to get out of it. And that's the problem with knowledge. If you give people information that they cannot handle, they will delete themselves because they're going to run out of all ways of changing themselves. And then the last change they say is, I can't deal with this change. The only avenue I've left is self-deletion. So
yeah, that's like
any
that.
responsible person needs to realize, and this is my biggest gripe with culture, and I'm not blaming red pill or anything like that. I'm saying my biggest gripe with society today is people give information to people that are not prepared to receive that information or have a plan to deal with the information and to come out of it. And I have to stress the last part: dealing with the information and how to come out of it, the game plan to succeed. Is it important to warn people? Yes. Is it important to warn people to the point where they lose all aspects of dealing with somebody,
Okay.
and then they end up doing things bad?
I'm a
No,
bit guilty of that.
they're better off not being told that information.
Yes,
Or if they're
ignorance is
told that
bliss.
information, they need to do the opposite. They also need to add that aspect of, we're going to put you into, Dante's Inferno. But if I don't give you the game plan to get out of Dante's Inferno, your soul's going to burn in hell. If you're going to use an allegory. And like I said, what was the purpose of the cave in Aristotle? It wasn't about the cave. It was the journey out of the cave, fighting that demon and getting out of the cave. Once again, if you're given information that's going to change, that's going to cause an existential crisis with somebody, you need to give them the game plan out of it. It's irresponsible to just give people information and say, here you go. That's bullshit.
Yeah, you're a bit of an asshole, really. It's like
You're being
coming
a
up to
complete
you and
asshole.
saying,
And it's not just, you're not even being an asshole. You're actually, you should be linked to their murder, because that's what you really are doing. If I'm being frankly honest with you, if you're giving information out to people and not giving them a game plan of either having to deal with that information or how to get out of that information, and if it's that much of an existential crisis that's going to cause for people, like any kind of, knowledge that will change their life, and you don't give them means to understand it and to get out of it, you're partly responsible for that person's actions, because you basically gave them to the path of destruction. That's how I feel about it. If you're going to change people, you have to be understanding that you can't just say that you're a piece of shit and show them and cause them to do an existential crisis. You need to show them the path. Otherwise, it's like giving them half the journey, or or giving them half of what they need. It's irresponsible. It's life threatening, and actually, you're being a giant piece of shit by doing it. You need to show people how to take that information and let them deal with the grief. There's no problem with grieving. I but you shouldn't stay in the grieving phase for very long. Let people grieve, and then, okay, you grieved, let's go.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like the the tell them to shatter their world and then leave them there without any solution. It's kind of like the grifting angle, isn't it? It's sort of like, I'm going to tell you how to self-improve, but if you want the solution, you're going to have to buy the course or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they never tell you what the solution is, even if you do.
Well, they don't. They put the solution behind a paywall that
Behind
people
paywall,
can't
yeah,
afford, and then
yeah.
they have an existential crisis and kill themselves.
I was going to bring up earlier we were talking. The idea came when you were telling the sort of the different steps when you were laying out the sort of roadmap in the and you were talking about the accountability buddy.
Mm-hmm.
What if because I mean, I guess there's different ways that one would acquire an accountability, like maybe the buddy stepped forward and volunteered, sort of like interjected into or intervention into your life. But if the person who wants to change is like picking out, they're choosing who they want as their accountability buddy.
Mm-hmm.
What's the either like probability or reliability that they're going to pick someone that will actually do them solid,
Well,
knowing that, because it's kind of like if they're adverse to fear and pain and being uncomfortable, then why would they choose a buddy that's going to be like a drill sergeant?
that's what I said before about knowing the person. You need to know what motivates them. In a sense, you need to know you're basically being a mentor to that person. So you need to understand what motivates them. How far can I push that person? What do I need? What does the person need from me to affect the change that?
But do we see? But when we look at people struggling and they talk about the changes, okay, so they're kind of telling on themselves a little bit. They're saying like, I'm someone that needs to change, and you look at them and you go, okay, why aren't you changing? And they're surrounding themselves not with an accountability buddy, but enablers.
Well, that's what I said before. If people aren't going to embrace your change, you need to cut them out of your life. Those are people that are just going to make you stay in
But
their
what if they're saying like, no, this person isn't like you might say they're enabler, but to me that's my accountability buddy, and you're like, no, they're not. They can't. That's your drug dealer. No way is that your
Well, the
accountability
thing
buddy.
is, your drug dealer is not going to ask you to not do drugs. Your drug dealer is going to make you want to do more drugs.
Yeah, so enable you.
Yeah, so they're not
Yeah.
they're not the person that wants to make you change. So another way of looking at this is look at your friend groups. Okay, so I'll use an allegory here. You have the people that are going to hold you back, the people that hold you back, the people that okay. Mm-hmm. Give me a second to think about this. Okay, the people that hold you back, or the people that want to keep you where you are. That's group one. Group two, the people that want to help you change and be the best person that you want to be. And then group three, the people that are at your end goal of what you want to be. Okay. So the enablers and the people that want to stay how you are, and the enablers, those people are dead to you. If they're not willing to embrace the new you, then they're part of the problem. You need to go. The people that want they keep you the way you are and don't want you to change and basically be the same person you are in high school, for example, and not grow as an individual, those people are dead to you too, because they're keeping you from the best potential that you can be. And the people that want to help you change, those are the people that you want. Those are your accountability people. because they're going to help you grow as an individual, and they're on the same path you are, so you can motivate each other. And then the people that are where you want to be, those are your mentors. Those are the people that are going to give you the game plan. Those are the people that are going to that know how to be what you want to be and giving you a roadmap of how to accomplish that. Those are your mentors. And the thing comes down to this: once you become that end goal, you now become the mentor part. Okay, so now you've a couple of options here. You can either have an extended hand to your old friends and bring them up, and if they don't want to do that, they're officially done. Um, and then you can say, "Oh, I'm here now. I don't want to stay here. I want to go to a new target." And then you got to find a new mentor to motivate you for your next goal. And see what I mean? It's always a moving target, but you have to understand what what people are and what group of people they are, so they don't become a hindrance to your life. They become a motivational improvement on your life. That's why most people only have like one or two close friends, because those are the people that want to see you grow and want to grow with you. Everybody else is just in the way.
The idea of crabs in a bucket is sort of coming to mind, and I'm wondering, with what you're saying, how, if we got this individual person,
Mm-hmm.
they can see some role models, they can see some potential accountability buddies. They're few in number, and they know it logically in their head that that's what they should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But that feeling of, I don't want to abandon my old schoolmates who are really crabs in this bucket, and they're also pulling at me to stay here. Um, how does this individual square this circle or whatever? How do they solve this kind of conundrum?
Well, the conundrum is sometimes you might have to hire the help to motivate you. Sometimes you need to distance yourself from the people that are enabling you in your bad behavior. Sometimes you just got to take yourself out of the whole situation. Maybe you need to have a different environment, and that's the hardest one. Maybe you need to move. Maybe you realize everybody in the area is selling drugs, or it's a shitty situation. You need to take yourself out of it.
So do you think, like, this idea of ghosting people, do you think that kind of falls into this bit where it's like you don't want to have to necessarily confront or say adios to the crabs because of how intoxicating they are and guilt tripping they are? You've had a good laugh with them, you've kind of grew up with them, they're very, very close in proximity to you, but it's like the only way of separating is maybe this ghost
Um,
method.
I would use that as a last means, because you never really want, if you have potential of not burning bridges. I always say that anytime I burn a bridge, I end up regretting it. However, if the person is beyond toxic, like is such a user of your person that no matter what you do, they just keep bringing you back, and are controlling, they're manipulative, they're psychopathic. Those people, yes, 100% ghost them. But if you feel like you can work with them, or just have a good terms on, like an employer, if you can leave on good terms, leave on good terms. But if you can't leave on good terms and you're expected to burn the bridge, but understand that's the only option you have left, then you got to do what you got to do. But it shouldn't be your to go procedure. It's just ghosting people. You should try to deal with your issues.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If possible. Yeah.
If possible.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
said, if the person's manipulative, or you put yourself into like a user relationship or something crazy like that, no, ghost them 100%.
Well, I quite like have you seen the film Good Will Hunting?
Yes.
I quite like the friendship Matt Damon has with, what is it, the other actor? Is it it's a Baldwin, isn't
Matt
it?
Alec Baldwin,
Yeah,
or is
that
it
friendship. Yeah,
or
I quite
Robin
like that.
Williams' character?
Yeah, so it's nice if you've got a friend who actually wants to see you grow and is kind of like like you're saying at the start, like giving you the kick up the. They're not your accountability buddy as such, but they're still giving you a kick up the backside.
Yeah,
Telling you like, get out of here.
but
You're wasting your time hanging around with me. I'll
but
just
that's
hold you
self.
back.
But he's actually been the best friend you could possibly
Yes,
be.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
So I'm not sure we've got many of those types of friends in today's society, though. That's the thing. Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah,
Things,
but those are true friends. Remember, most
Yeah.
people only have between one or two true friends in their life. That's all they get.
I suppose what that kind of friendship is a selflessness. Selflessness. Is that right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
he's like far from being selfish, and he's like, no, you know, I'll feel
But
guilty if you hang around with me, kind of thing.
but I'm saying those kind of people, you only get one or two of those in your life. You protect those kind of people like uh, I don't trying to think of a good analogy. You basically treat those people like gold. You do not burn those bridges because those are so rare to find. That person that actually has your best interest at heart, the person that's there for you thick and thin. You don't roast those people. You bring those people up. You treat those people like gold because they're so freaking rare. That is the diamond in the rough. And those are the people that you trust. Those are the people that motivate. Those are your mentors. Those are your accountability partners. Those are the people you need in your life. Everybody else is, second tier, third tier from that.
It's kind of funny, like sort of trying to recall some of the emotional dynamics between those two characters, because in a way, Alec Baldwin's character has a level of maturity greater than Matt Damon's at that moment in time.
Yes, but also looking at it as an unselfish thing, he might look at it as I can live vicariously through him. I know I can never be what he is, but his success is my shared success. So, kind of ending it in like a inspirational way where he lets him go, and then he's going to be his whole potential. And you can see himself as saying, "Oh, I'm reading in a newspaper article. Oh, this guy made it big, and now I get to live vicariously through his success."
Yeah.
And that that selflessness is
Well,
basically
it's kind of like a nice sort of vicariously, because it's sort of it's I don't imagine Alec Baldwin's character would be like, he made it successful because of me. He lets Matt, he would, I suppose, hypothetically allow Matt, he wouldn't steal that success from him and claim credit for it. Like, no, I knew the guy, but that's his own work, his own merit. He deserves everything he's got.
yes, but he's also at the same time going in and explaining I might not be I might have the smarts to do it because his whole thing is I don't have the smarts like you do. So he's going I might not be able to do it, but you know what? You're going to bring the neighborhood up. You're going to be the smart person that got out of here, and guess what? What you're going to do for us is you're going to succeed, and when you succeed, remember us because we need your success to bring the whole community up.
Yes, I think that was actually a bit of a point he says there. So it's making me wonder an idea of change
Mm-hmm.
and how it has if done well, how it can have a kind of a ripple effect, or like an echo effect, like a return effect perhaps, where not only does the main person, individual trying to change, but in the process of their changing, how that affects the accountability buddy, for example. Like how much of a change happens in that person as well.
Well, it's supposed to, because
Or is it
if
like a reward, the
it
sense of
that's the that's the reward. The only the only way I can really explain to this would be if you have children, because it's the only way to understand this is through children. Your
yeah,
children's success and failures are on you. And if your success is their success. So if you raise good children, the, you don't really care about their achievements. You really care about the journey of their experiences and how they carry themselves in bad situations. So what's their character is what you care about. So you don't really care about, oh my god, the person, you know, got first place in their whatever sporting event. You don't care about that. You care more about, okay, this person, I've seen the suffering, I've seen the journey, I've seen the pain that this person's been through, I've seen the character changes in them, I see what they did, their sacrifice. That's, and then you think about it, and that's what makes you all get all teary-eyed.
right.
It's
Yeah.
not it's not the fact that they won the award, it's the character improvements that
So
you're caring about.
I think the word that comes to mind is, so watching your kid grow up and going through a multitude of changes,
Mm-hmm.
for the parents' perspective, they feel that the parents' own change comes in a form of feeling fulfilled.
Yes. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that feeling, as long as you allow yourself to not live vicariously through your children. A lot of people, they go helicopter parents, or they go insane with it.
I think it's a
If
different kind of yeah, there's the vicariously live through your
yeah,
children's success
and th-
fulfillment, but
and this is
the
what I mean by
fulfillment,
there's nothing wrong about being average. Is when you take things to the extreme, most people have issues with it.
yeah,
If,
yeah, because what I'm trying to get at is if a parent sees their kid reach adulthood and off doing their own life kind of thing, then I imagine, because I'm not there yet in my own personal life. My kid's only 10, so I've got many years still of watching her grow. But so
Mhm.
when I look to the future at how I would feel when she's living her own life and everything like that, the change in me would be kind of like not spooning the successes of what she, even if it's an average life, it's knowing that I did a good job as a dad. I did what I was supposed to do, and that's good enough. That's average.
But I'm telling you, as an older parent, mine are 20 and 18. The the problems get harder, but the rewards get better. Okay? So when the seeing your kid develop from seeing your life lessons that you taught them when they were 3 or 4, and then they actually start applying what you taught them, and making the positive character choices, that's the part that what's going to bring you the most joy. You're going to be so proud as a person, saying, oh my god, like, they handled this really shitty situation. This really shitty situation was horrible, but the way they handled it, I can't believe they did this. They did it better than I ever did. That's the stuff that will bring you the most joy.
Yeah, like go on, girl. Yeah,
especially as a especially as a father. I can only speak as a father compared to a mother. Mothers might view it differently, but as a father, what you can teach your children is with character. That's what really well. I mean, that's why guys.
So that's
You
like
know,
change.
even you can see grown men cry like graduation. They don't crying because the kid's out of the house. They're crying because they realize all the different hardships and the
Mm.
sacrifices and all this stuff got them to this this moment in time that we can actually look at these people and reward them for their hard behavior. Remember when I
That's,
talked about you're supposed to have a target and a goal?
yeah,
The harder the goal, the better, the sweeter the success. Well, they
but this
spent
is
18 years to get to this goal and they
yeah,
finally got it. And then you can
but
see, oh my God, look at all the stuff that they learned from me that they're taking on to become the person that they're going to be, the man
yeah.
or woman that they're going to become.
Well, they've taken they own it. So it's like, yes, they got it from you, sort of technically, but you're not selfish to be like, you know, you better thank me
No, I'm
for
not.
that.
I'm no, no. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
but
saying the selfish. I'm saying more of the fact that they're becoming the man, the best version of man or woman that they could
yeah,
possibly be, and
and I
that you're
think,
just recognizing a moment in time when when all their hard work has gotten them to their end goal,
and
and
that and but
that's what should be celebrated.
I think there's two good. I think there's 2 points there. I think that might be quite good, which is like that goal in a way is
Hmm.
you made it not necessarily to like a finish line, but you've made it to a point where in parentheses like you've succeeded into the unknown. Like now the future of life is in your grasp, you know,
No,
and you have the faith and confidence that they're going to do well with it because you've seen how they've been handling life up until then.
well, give you a minor pushback. Um, no, you did see him to the end goal. The end goal was getting that diploma. Now we got to set the next goal of accomplishing college or you're going to a trade school. So the thing is, you're
Okay.
not you are looking at it as they hit a milestone in their life.
Milestone, right, right.
They hit a target goal because a lot of people they just go to the next goal and they don't celebrate their win. You need to celebrate your win because otherwise you're not going to motivate yourself for the next win.
Yeah.
It, half the problem is people say, "Oh, I reached this goal. Now what?" Before you say now what, you go, okay, let's celebrate that I hit this goal. Let's reflect on what I did, what I learned, and all that other aspects, all the importance. And then I'm going to take all that stuff that I learned. Now we're going to apply it to the next goal. The next goal is college. The next goal is getting a job, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That's what. So,
And these are like future changes that are somewhat unknown, but they're a little bit arbitrary. I mean, a job, yes, but what kind of job? So it's like a little bit of an unknown area, but it's sort of um inspiring, you know. It's you've reached certain milestones, big ones. You're setting new you've had some celebrations. Um, you're setting, well, not you, but the
yeah.
kid is setting new goals of their own, perhaps without your sort of input necessarily. They're taking life on their own responsibility, and that's a sort of like and a welcome anticipation of like what is to come. There's like an excitement, I think is the word I'm looking for. There's an exciting you were talking about being enjoying change, and change is the best part. And maybe it's that excitement of ooh, it's a bit of a surprise. I wonder what's going to happen. It might not necessarily be a good thing, you know, like some hiccups and things happen, you know, like maybe they lost a job, maybe they become homeless or something, you know. These are
Mhm.
these are hard times, yes, but um
But you also have to understand that you're also not trying to change you because you have to change. There always has to be a motivational reason why you want to change. And this is the scary because some people just say I'm going to just use it as a snowball to make another future change and another future change, but then you're just going in life without a set of goal, without a set of plans. You're just going in through life as willy-dilly. I'm just going to make changes for the positive and hope for the best. No, you still need to come up with a plan. You don't want to just change because you want it. You have to change. You want to change because You recognize that there's some aspect of your life you either hate or you want to improve,
You
and
kind
that's
of
something about some people miss.
so one of the goals maybe there is the like at what point would you be content or satisfied? Because
Well,
you're kind of reminding me of like
content.
people who they get like multiple degrees and just keep getting degrees after degrees, and just for the sake of it, they just
Well,
enjoy just doing it. But it's like, why are you acquiring all these qualifications? What are you going to do with all this stuff? Well, I
yes,
don't know, nothing.
and society. That's one aspect where society has failed everybody. You have to embrace contentment to a certain degree. I know it's kind of you know oxymoronish, but you
Well, that's
if you
partly
don't
connected to being
if
normal,
you
though, isn't it?
if you just change all the time and don't have a solid foundation, you're going to eventually collapse because you just and or you're going to get manipulated. However, if you go in and recognize that you make these big improvements, then you can fix on other aspects of your life, or you can enjoy the contentment. There's nothing wrong with contentment, because the thing is, if you're always going for a carrot that you can never reach, you're eventually going to be disappointed. Now, I'm not saying that you should live in contentment for forever. That's a problem in itself. So this is a fine line what I'm about to say. But you should embrace some level of contentment, because contentment also means that you have time to self-reflect. You can't just keep going for change after change, and then you're going to be missing self-reflection.
Yeah, it comes back to that sort of point about balance, and I think it's
Yes.
kind of funny because balance also, in this sense, is linked to like contradiction.
Yes.
You know, you
Life
want
is always
change, but you need yeah. Like humans are full of contradictions.
life is contradiction. And the thing is, that's one of the things, like, if you want to brace in two things what I'm about to say, embrace the suck and life is a bunch of contradictions. If you brace
Suck
those
and
two things,
flow.
you'll be all right. Embrace the suck, and life is full of contradictions.
Yeah, oh yes, we are getting a bit close to the 2 hour mark. So, um, the contradiction is like it's like almost like Shakespeare. It's like to change or not to change. That is the question.
Well, if you want to finish with that, the only reason to change is you need to identify something in your life that you want to improve on, or somewhere where you want to grow into. So if you want to embrace something, a new skill, um, a new trait, a new way of doing things, that's change. Or if you recognize something that is lacking in your life, or something that's negative in your life and you want to change out of it, those are two things to change for. The rest of it, I wouldn't change. If it's not broke, don't fix it. There's too many other things in life that are broken, or new skills to learn, instead of focusing on the bullshit. You know what I mean? If you recognize that there's bullshit, fix it. And then you can learn something new. Because you can't grow as a person without, um, you can't grow as a person unless you fix what's wrong with you first. Then you can start adding new skills to your life. Like, if I want to learn carpentry, that's a change. That's going to be a skill. But if I have a phobia of sharp objects, there's no way in hell I can be a carpenter. I have to fix that first. I mean, you have to fix what's wrong with your life first before you can grow.
Yeah, and that kind of falls into the part you were saying of like strategizing and making a plan and working out what other areas you're gonna need to consider.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have be able to identify, have awareness, um, be able to almost have like you got your kind of like your main roadmap plan, but you might have to have little tangent like side quests. Whereas like if you want to get over this phobia of sharp objects, okay, maybe you might have to go on a therapy course for a while. So before you could get on with the main task of wanting to change, you're gonna have to sort of do a little detour and go through a bit of therapy to get over this sharp object thing. And then maybe find out, oh, you need to get a what's that vaccination when like a tetanus shot.
Yeah.
You might need to get a tetanus shot because rusty saws and drill bits and things.
Yeah. But
and then you're on your way.
But you can't fix what's wrong until you embrace what is wrong. So a lot of this comes down to self-reflection, and a lot of people get scared by it because it holds them accountable.
Well, self-reflect. So ownership of the self as well, to be able to take to have the ownership, to be able to accept, to take on the responsibility, to then be able to do some self-reflect. It's kind of like, where do you start in this circle? Because it's like you need to self-reflect to realize you need to take ownership and have responsibility. But again, it's that the circle of life, I suppose, is a little bit here, and incrementally it all comes up together in one.
Yep, 100%.
So should we start closing up?
Yeah. We can do that.
I don't know if maybe I should have said it earlier to the chat. Like, is there any particular points or direction you wanted for us to talk about? But it might be a bit late now. We could try and squeeze a couple in.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, this would be a time to ask if they need me to clarify anything.
And I'll serenade with a little sort of some music. Question time. But otherwise, like, thank you again, Bandit, for continuing this stream and for being patient, and sharing your wisdom and advice and stuff like that.
Anytime, any way I can help people.
Much appreciated. Now this is like a 3-part sort of series, but this is part 2. So next time will be the last one, unless there's just so much material we roll over. But yeah,
I guess we could think about for next stream is if anybody has any questions about trying to do what we're talking about, maybe we can help people with that.
Oh yes, by all means, if people want to leave comments or something like that, either in regards to this second episode or the next one, if you want to sneak peek what the next one will be, hold on, I'll look at my notes. And so shall I type? I'll type it out. Hold on, I'll copy and paste. Just bear with me a second. I'll go to banners. I'll add it as a banner. So this will be the final, the next main. The next one. All right. And is that it? Yeah. So that'll be like the sort of subject area of the next one. So how do we identify and help people who want to escape the drama or whatever turmoil they're in? Doesn't have to be in community spaces. It might be like their home, or inspire them to take better care of themselves. Who is really worth saving or educating with our time? So yes, that's like, you can't save everyone. So how would we evaluate who is really worth for this? That would be like a question for the accountability buddy. Like, if everyone was going up to the accountability buddy, how would that accountability buddy like choose or filter out who's worth saving or not? And how would they, unfortunately be like, sorry, I can't help you. But we say that for next time. So wait, I'll remove that banner and then have a quick look at the comments. just to see if we've got any questions. Yeah, yes. Okay, do you see any questions? Because I'm a bit.
I don't see any questions.
I don't see any questions. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for behaving yourselves. I really do appreciate it and respecting our guest and for his time and everything here. So until next time, yeah. Adios.
Adios, everybody.